Although I am involved with CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada, the views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the participants and do not reflect those of CADAC. And now, cue the music.
This is the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, a show for high-achieving ADHD entrepreneurs. Together, we will inform and educate you about how to improve your self-awareness while developing systems, routines, and habits for conquering the entrepreneurial world. Here is your host, Andre Brisson.
Hey there, it's Andre here with another short for the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, the podcast for the high-achieving ADHD entrepreneur. This episode is brought to you by CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada. You can get more information and you can donate at www.caddac.ca. This week you heard Adrienne Duffy and I talk about the Kolbe A Index, the Clifton Strengths, and the Why of You powered by Print, and how those three strengths and talent assessments work well together and how they meld, and how a lot of those talents and strengths amplify each other, and then also on top layer the ADHD amplifying some of those strengths and talents, or even tampering some of those talents, non-ADHD talents and strengths. You can tell that both of us are very passionate about this stuff. This is like over 20 years of research and experience that we're both speaking of, her a lot more than I. And the thing is with these assessments, they're not very easily identified or understood right off the bat. You have to live it and experience it and understand as you go. And that's why it's not well known or well received, is because it takes knowledgeable people who can give you the proper interpretations and observe how those three things work together, all right? And then what I bring to the table is how ADHD gets melded in there also, and how it amplifies a quick start, or how it amplifies a resistant follow-through, or how your print, your unconscious motivators gets amplified. And it's very important for you to understand how you do things, what you'll spend your energy on, and why you do things. Okay, and if you got a really good understanding of those three things, you can make it work for you, change the way you do things, set up boundaries and barriers, or control your environment. Then you can be working in your value creation mode, where you bring the most value to your client and that you really enjoy and that you're good at and you can do all day, and try to reduce the amount of minimal stuff. Just figuring out like your resistant follow through, you prefer random paths. You can deal with change passes regularly. Once you understand that and do it, working in a bureaucratic situation or following a list of 200 things to do when you can just skip to the end, it's frustrating. So understanding these frustrations and limitations, you can identify what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. And if you have no choice but to do the stuff you don't enjoy and shouldn't be doing, at least going in, it's not going to be fun, and you just power through. And then at the same time, with that awareness, we're a little less frustrated with people around us when it's really we're doing something we don't want to do. The other thing about these three assessments, talent and strength assessments, and I'm using those terms purposefully, talents and strengths assessment, they're not personality assessments. Personality assessments tell you how you act and feel and how you behave. It doesn't explain, a lot of these personality assessments don't explain why those behaviors, just that you behave this way and this is how you should talk to different people. And it really resonates with you because you understand. It's immediately relatable and it makes sense. Yet a lot of these personality assessments, there's nothing actionable. So that's what I like about these three tools. I can look at the reports of these three tools. I don't need to meet you. I don't need to have observed how you work. I don't need to observe what motivates you. All I have is a name, 4 numbers for a Kolbe, 2 numbers for the print, and a list of 5 strengths from the Strength Finder. From those, the Kolbe, I know how you're going to solve a problem. I know how you're going to work. I know how to communicate to you. I know how to manage you just with those 4 numbers. And then looking at my Kolbe or your team member's Kolbe, I can actually predict some conflict, cognitive stress, strain, tension. They're all actionable. I don't need to know anything about you. I don't need to, there's nothing there to tell me. I don't need to know what sex you are, what religion or anything. Just, it is what the number is. Same thing with the print, the two different prints. I can tell if one's triggering the other one or more likely. And then the strengths finder, if I'm asking someone to go talk on stage and they don't have woo and they prefer to just be alone and work on their own, I can tell that from those strengths, right? Like my engineering manager, when I know I'm going to have friction with a client and I can't figure out how to reduce that friction, I bring him on because one of his top strengths is harmony and his print is harmony. So he has a natural talent to just make it all work out for everyone involved. He harmonizes things. He harmonizes situations. So by understanding yourself and how others work, we get a lot clearer picture and understanding of what to do and what not to do and how people are behaving. And at the same time too, if someone's not following their MO, their Kolbe index, or you're trying to, you're trying to motivate someone based on their print subconscious motives, but it's not working, then we can actually start figuring out there's other issues that might be more severe, not necessarily severe, but that's outside of work or that's outside of what we can do with these. So what's really cool about this is now let's add in the ADHD portion of our ADHD talents and strengths, nuances, and abilities with our ADHD. Okay, so someone who has a, maybe their top strength is ideation and Clifton strengths. They might have a high quick start in Kolbe, and they might have a print of want to be knowledgeable and smart. So if someone's a hyperactive ADHD, the ADHD will actually amplify those strengths because the person who's got full of ideas, as per their Clifton strengths, they just come up with a lot of ideas, and the creating of ideas really works for them, or they take an idea and run with it. Put that in with an initiating quick start that just comes up with a lot of random ideas and brainstorms very well. So you can see how those two amplifies that. And let's throw in the hyperactivity intense ADHD brain in there. That ideation strength is actually amplified by 3, right? So like in my case, I'm a big fact finder. I'm an 8 fact finder and I need a lot of details. So sometimes my fact finder actually dampens some of my intense ideation ideas because I need more facts. So that kind of slows me down. But yet my resistant follow through actually makes me very distractible because I can go here, I can go there, I can go there, I can go everywhere. While someone with a long follow through will actually reduce some of the distraction because they don't want to be jumping around. They can't jump around because their brain just works in a systematic way. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's what I like about these 3 tools. They work well together. I don't need to meet the people. I can troubleshoot a lot of, or predict a lot of current problems and go find out that I'm accurate or somewhat not. And then come up with solutions just based on these without knowing the people. And that's what I love about this. And that's why I love working with people who want to understand themselves better, how they can improve themselves better based on these assessments, and how they can improve their team. And if this is the type of person you are and you want to understand your ADHD and your non-talent strengths, or your non-ADHD strengths and talents, give me a call. I'm really loving working with people who want to understand themselves, and I can help create strategies and systems for you to follow so you can be at your best and get into hyperactivity or hyper focus a lot easier and quicker. If you're interested, I'll have a link down. You can get the Kolbe A through the link down below for Strengths Finder and Print. Reach out to me. I'd like to talk to you about how I can help you identify your strengths and abilities. You can send me an email at andre@andreb.ca to get this going, or click the link in the show notes for the Kolbe A purchase. Thanks again for listening. I recommend that you do this. You get a lot more clarity in yourself. It'll put the ADHD in perspective, and we can really harness and funnel that energy in the right spots. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Impulsive Thinker podcast. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion for the show, please visit theimpulsivethinker.com. The Impulsive Thinker podcast is produced by Tactical Breakthroughs and hosted by Andre Brisson. Remember, ADHD is only a part of you, not all of you.